It's midday, I'm Sarah Toom. President Biden is facing growing pressure from within his own party to pause arms sales to Israel. Nearly 40 Democrat members of the U.S. Congress have signed a letter calling for no weapons to be sent until a full investigation is completed into the killing of 7 aid workers in Gaza on Monday. Israel says they were targeted by mistake. The Deputy Prime Minister of Jordan, Ayman Safadi, told the BBC he hoped the deaths of the aid workers would be a turning point.
For the past 6 months, we've seen nothing but an Israeli government that is defying the will of the whole international community, proceeding with a massacre. The world has to act more assertively to ensure that Israel complies with international law, not only stop killing Palestinians through this war, but also stop the starvation. So it is way past time that Israel is held responsible for what it has done.
6 people have been killed and at least 10 others wounded in an overnight drone attack by Russia on Ukraine's second biggest city, Kharkiv. Speaking from the site of a giant crater caused by one of the Russian missiles, Kharkiv's mayor said blocks of flats and a children's nursery had been damaged. The Scottish Green Party are to field 32 candidates at this year's general election. That's the highest number of seats contested by the party. Their co-leader Patrick Harvey, speaking to his party conference in Edinburgh today, said Scotland needs fundamental changes to shift the emphasis from targets to accelerated action on climate change. This comes after a warning that Scotland's 2030 emissions targets were unreachable. Around 70 flights to and from the UK have been cancelled after the Met Office issued a yellow weather warning for wind. Storm Kathleen could bring gusts of up to 70 miles an hour. That includes flights from Glasgow to destinations like Tiree, Barra and Dublin. Those have been cancelled. And from Edinburgh to Stornoway and Belfast. People who work but also care for sick or disabled relatives or friends are now entitled to 5 days of statutory unpaid leave under a new law. The legislation was brought forward by Scottish Lib Dem MP Wendy Chamberlain and applies to more than 2 million workers in Scotland, England and Wales. Tricia says her employer already has a policy in place to support unpaid carers, and that's allowed her to maintain her career while also caring for her daughter who has Angelman's syndrome.
I didn't immediately identify myself as a carer. I saw myself as a parent. We've got all these hospital appointments, admissions and having to deal with seizures or the fact that you never know if your day's going to take a different turn. I've worked for the company for nearly 18 years now. I was there before any kids, so it's let me keep that part of me. I'm a carer, but I'm also me.
The authorities in the Australian city of Sydney have told more residents to prepare to leave their homes because of rising floodwaters. The reservoir, which supplies most of the city's drinking water, has started to overflow following 3 days of torrential rainfall. The Premier of New South Wales, Chris Minns, warned of the risks if the rain continued to cause problems.
It's important to note that flood levels in some of the rivers, particularly in Western Sydney, are continuing to rise. And that presents a real danger for some communities. So it's very important for those who live in communities that are low-lying, flood-prone areas that you continue to listen to emergency broadcasts from the SES.
That's the news. Sport now. Here's Carradine.
Well, we still don't know whether Dundee against Motherwell goes ahead this afternoon, one of 5 big games in the Scottish Premiership. There was a pitch inspection at Dens an hour ago. There will now be another one at 1 p.m. to see whether the surface can dry out enough. Both clubs and the league are keen to get the game on, with Motherwell warning the SPFL they won't play behind closed doors tomorrow or Monday, which is one of the suggestions if the match is postponed. 3 games have already passed morning inspections. Stirling Albion against Alloa is on, as is Bonnyrigg Rose Peterhead and Elgin v Spartans. For all today's football, Sportsound will bring you every kick from 2 p.m. After an 8-4 win over the USA, Scotland, skipped by Bruce Mowat, will now face Canada this afternoon for a place in tomorrow's World Curling Final. And Scotland's multiple Olympic swimming medalist Duncan Scott is predicting a special games in Paris this summer after officially booking his spot on the Eurostar by winning the British 200 metres individual medley in London last night. That's it from me, but stay tuned for Off the Ball, followed by Sportsound.
Thanks, Carradine. Scotland's weather, a very windy and mild afternoon, strong to gale force winds widely, with severe gales at times in southern and central areas where a Met Office yellow warning remains until 10 o'clock tonight. Disruption is possible. Rain will pull away from Shetland, leaving some bright or sunny spells for most, as well as showers or patchy rain. Highs widely 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. That's BBC Radio Scotland News.
You're tuned to Off the Ball, the most petty and ill-informed sports programme on radio. Coming up, changing venues, the Scottish-Italian connection, Billy Connolly and you, and food no-nos. I'm Ali Defoy, he's Ray Bradshaw, and you're tuned in to the odd couple of Scottish football. Coming up today. How are you, Ray? You've flown in today.
I'm good, yeah. I'm looking forward to this. This is, I feel like we're definitely substitute teacher vibes. Do you know that kind of way that Stuart and Tam are on holiday? So they've got us in, and I think we're about, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes away from wheeling in a telly and just letting everyone watch Finding Nemo like you did at school towards the end. I feel it's that kind of thing. How are you? Are you excited?
I'm good, but do you know what made me feel worse? I spoke to producer Stevie today, and I was like, did Tam know before or after that I was covering the show today that he was going away on holiday? And he said, oh no, he knew you were covering the show and then he decided to go on holiday.
I came in the other day and I was like, Tam, why are you on Sky Scanner? And he was like, oh, Ali's in, so just trying to book the cheapest one I can find. So that's him away.
I think he's just trying to avoid this Motherwell game today.
Well, I think everyone's trying to avoid the Motherwell game. This is, I was just listening to the news there. So the big kind of football news just now is that Dundee still don't know if their game's going ahead.
That's mad. What? It's 7 minutes past 12, and you've got to get to Dundee from Motherwell. It's not exactly the shortest trip.
Yeah, so pitch inspection was at 11. That's been, the ref wants another one at 1. They've borrowed big covers off of Celtic during the week. It's just getting a bit ridiculous, but they have to play both games before the split, which is next Saturday, isn't it? So they've already played Rangers on Wednesday, I think. Mm-hmm. There's chat
Due to be.
Well, yeah.
It depends.
Check the weather. I don't know. There must be like someone at Tannadice just doing like kind of rain dances all the time trying to screw them over. I think
run up and down the street.
Yeah, you just run up, getting a shaman down or whatever. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens if the game is called off, because we'll find out during the show. We'll be on air during that second pitch inspection.
Breaking the news to you. I'm so sorry.
Breaking news at the lowest level in it. There's nothing exciting about that. We're like, I just let you know about Dens Park. But yeah,
have I got to Perth? Will I turn around yet?
Well, this is the thing, man. People are just going to be sitting in Broxton services just waiting.
Yeah.
The queue for McDonald's there is going to be out of the way, just
Nightmare.
waiting. But it's going to be really, really interesting because the chat, and it kind of leads us on to our first topic today. So the chat is that if the game gets called off, it might go ahead at a neutral venue. They're talking about maybe doing, is it Airdrie?
Airdrie, yeah.
But when? Like Sunday or Monday?
Closed doors.
Why? Why can they not wait till Sunday or Monday and try play it then? Is there a reason? Do you know?
Possibly, I'm thinking policing, staffing, to be able to have, obviously, if there's already a game on. It
seems so weird, the fact that they're going to move the game to a closed door thing, because they're chatting about doing it at Airdrie. I was going to call it whatever, but you know, all stadiums change names nowadays, so whatever,
the sponsor, like whatever, the Smiza Stadium. It's just still the Smiza Stadium. Some people still call it Love Street.
Yeah, I still call it Love Street.
A new St Mirren Park, which it has never been.
When did they leave Love Street? Like 2005 or something like that? I still call it Love Street. Yeah. I still remember those big steep steps.
Oh, don't.
I remember.
I had the worst day of my life up those steep steps.
What, did you deck it or what happened?
No, I did deck it, but in spectacular fashion. So St Mirren were playing Rangers.
Which end were you in?
Well, I wasn't in either end. I was standing on the corner of the street selling programmes. I was head programme coordinator.
Yeah.
And
get that on the CV.
Yeah.
Nice one.
It's literally my favourite job. And I had to coordinate where the programmes went.
What age are we talking?
I don't know, I was 16, 17.
Okay, yeah, I was hoping teenager. If you'd said like 34, I'd have been like, oh, that's...
like 4 years ago. Yeah. Okay, let's rub it in that you're younger than me. Okay, let's go.
I don't look younger, let's be honest, so we're okay with that.
Sorry, I got upset that I'm 39 and you're, what, 30?
35.
Oh, gosh. But Anyway, back to running about. So I had all these programmes and I'd envisaged how many you would need at the Rangers end, how many you need at St Mirren end for selling out.
Is this back in the days when you used to give all the stands to Rangers? Like 3 stands to Rangers?
No, there was just one stand.
Okay.
And then... No, it was just one stand. So we'd split up the programmes where we were going to go. And to my amazement, they were really selling out in the away end. So I had to take some more programmes over to the away end to fit the demand. Was running up those ridiculously steep steps. Didn't I trip? All the pound coins from my money belt trickled down all the stairs towards all the oncoming Rangers fans coming up the stairs. I was absolutely devastated. I thought, I don't have enough money to pay for all these programmes. I'm not going to be
What,
able to...
did someone shout scramble, or did they
I
just
don't
pick
know
them up?
what happened. Everyone picked them up. I ended up with £1.50 more.
The good thing is, though,
I made money.
Did you?
I
Well,
made money.
was
They
gonna
were
say,
so helpful.
The Rangers fans probably wouldn't have paid cash. They would have just paid in EBTs at the time anyway, so you would have got away with that. So that would have been all right.
Wow, hold on.
'Cause that would have
Let's
been about
not
that
go
time,
there.
wouldn't it? It would have been about that time.
It was forever. I don't know. 14, no. What am I, 39?
Yeah, so 23 years ago.
Let's
so
not do
yeah,
maths
yeah,
for a
that works
long
out.
time.
Yeah, 2001. 2001.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, so the chance is it might be moving things. Have you ever had, because you go out and cover games, you do overall
I get
nights and
sent
stuff
to
like
everywhere that
yeah.
all the
amount of times
golden
I'm in the
oldies
car
don't
driving
want
and
to
it's
go
like,
to.
why is Ali Defoy in Arbroath again? You always get sent to Cove or anywhere that everyone's like, no, I don't
Not
really
gonna
fancy
do
that.
that.
That's too much mileage.
Like they were trying to get me to go to Arbroath one day and then was up Aberdeen the next day, or Ross County the next day, and I was like, I mean, it is on kind of en route, but not really for the next morning. But yeah, no, I just, because I probably, you know, when you're the newbie and you have to like, well, newbie for like 3 years, but you're the newbie and you just go wherever.
Yeah, you just
and I'm
take-
not like a proper pundit. Like I've never played football, so I'm not like Derek Ferguson where I'm just like, I'm going to Hamilton.
Yeah. Is that what? Yeah, that's near my house.
That's what I'm going.
I can walk there.
No, I'm not
That's
saying
class.
Derek does that, but
You
Derek
did insinuate it, like he
but
definitely
probably,
walks
yeah.
there. Yeah.
But I think people who have established themselves, have been there for a long time, and quite rightly so.
So do
go
you think-
to
so that's interesting.
The bigger games, and then no disrespect to like Arbroath in the Championship, but I was covering the Championship in my first season.
Yeah.
So I was racking up the mileages on my new car.
Is there an open all mics like hierarchy? Do you think?
Oh,
That,
gosh,
like
yeah,
the longer
sure.
you're there.
Well, ask Kenny when he comes in, but I would say so.
So who's top of that hierarchy? Do you think Willie Miller? I think he goes all the way down, and then it comes down to: is there anyone
Me,
below
but
you now? Are
there
you
must
the bottom
be.
of the rung, or
No,
is anyone
but I'm not
newer
even
than
on the
you?
rung anymore. They haven't asked me back since
they
I
not?
last went. No, I need to pick that up with Kenny.
Since Arbroath started doing a bit bad, they're like, nah, they're going to be League One soon. We don't need it. Arbroath can actually get relegated today, technically. So they're playing Inverness. If Inverness win, Arbroath go 12 points behind with 4 games to go and a huge goal difference. So it's almost certain. But we'll find out what's happening between Dundee and Motherwell during the show. So we wanted to ask you, the listeners, and talking about changing venues, at times when you've had to change venues, it happens quite a lot with weddings, especially in COVID. People were moving. All the kind of, have you had a birthday? I've got a thing where I'm on tour just now, and people were asking me why I wasn't in Derby. So I did what did I do? I did Nottingham last week. I did somewhere Warwick on Wednesday. So near
Warwick's
it.
nice.
Yeah, Warwick was nice. Yeah. So I did all kind of around it, and people were saying, why are you not in Derby? And the genuine truth is, I've put 2 tour shows in Derby over the last 5 or 6 years, and both times before I've got there, the venue's burnt down.
And can you just make sure that everyone's aware, because I find this mad, it's 2 separate venues.
2 separate venues. Both of them are burnt down.
And this is after your show's been announced and sold out.
One of them was sold out. The other one had sold quite badly, so it did me a favour. So I was quite happy with it. So I was like, did anyone get hurt? Nope, sound. That's good for me then. Because the first time I had to do...
People just not like comedy in Derby.
Yeah, or me. I think
No.
I might be the one. So yeah, the first time I had to do 3 different shows instead of one show because the bigger venue wasn't available, so I had to do like a 40, 50-seater. I had to do that.
That's a lot more work for you.
Yeah, I did like a 4 o'clock, a 7 o'clock, and a 10 or something like that.
It's a full day.
And then on the
Full
way
day's
there,
work for you there.
on the way in and on the way out, I drove through a bus lane, so I got 60 quid each way fine. So I was like, I'm losing
Unknowingly
money.
drove through the bus lane.
Yeah, I did know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a one-way system. I don't think I'm a bus.
No, but you know how some people are like, oh, stuff it, I'll just go. And you think, you can't do that. And I'm just saying, you're the Ray Bradshaw. You're not the person that thinks, stuff it. You're the person that thinks, oh, I didn't realise I've driven through it. Like when I came out the BBC a few weeks ago and I went to go right, and I was like, oh no, which one is it? And it was dark. And I was like,
Yeah.
And I had to hesitate because otherwise I would have gone through a bus lane.
Oh no, I will drive through a bus lane if I know there's not a camera. I will do that. There's certain bits on my... When I was driving to Edinburgh Festival every day, there's certain bits on a road that I drive that I know the bus camera's much further down, so I can do... Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
It's the truth. So
This is where we're going.
Yeah, have you ever had a venue change? Today, we're not changing venues, changing presenters, but have you ever had a venue change, whether it's been a last minute thing? The interesting thing about the Motherwell Dundee thing as well is that if they do move to Airdrie, they don't have VAR. So
Oh yeah, you were saying this.
I think Dundee will have to implement VAR. And also, I don't know how you do that. Like, do you...
Get all the cameras and
yeah,
tables.
how
and
do you set that up? I wonder... And I
guess
wonder...
their infrastructure. Maybe that's why it takes time. Maybe that's why it can't just be tomorrow.
but
Maybe
then-
they have the infrastructure to set up VAR to do it.
But why would you not move it to a team that's playing away? So why would you not go
Because
to
their pitch would then suffer from
go to Edinburgh?
I don't know.
You'd get
I'm just
money to
thinking.
get compensated. It seems like Dundee fans. Do you have any idea what is happening? Why it could be Airdrie if it is, and also. We don't know if that's a definite thing. That's been rumoured. We still don't know if that's 100% the case.
Brian Caldwell was talking about it yesterday.
yeah.
He was at St Mirren years ago.
Will they try move the game to tomorrow? I don't think they can for some reason. I don't think.
I think it'll
there's no big
probably
games in
be-
Scotland tomorrow, is there?
No.
No big ones
Is there a
on.
march on or something?
No. Well, potentially on the way there, but I'm not sure. But
No, I'm pretty sure, having worked within a football club, I imagine it's the logistics of getting fans there safely and having the right amount of security and staff on to cover it. It might take more than 24 hours to do.
And
I don't know.
This becomes the pedant bit. Like, if you're a season ticket holder and a game's behind closed doors, do you get a refund? Do you get a free cup game next year? How does that all
cup.
work? Yeah,
Free cup?
A free cup. Yeah,
You get a
wee
mug.
getting off the ball mug for every single person.
Do tennis and teaser. Who cares?
How does it work? I'm fascinated by it all because. Correct me if I'm wrong. The only time I can ever really think of this happening in Scottish football is when we played Estonia. That is when they didn't turn up and we had to. What do you think? Is that what's going to happen? This is going to be played at 2
Well,
p.m.
Motherwell says that they're. What was it saying? They would have to make their way up the road. I was listening to what I don't even know. Forgive me, my Brian Caldwell's position. I'm not sure. I know he's just taken over at Motherwell, but I don't know. What
I think he's the new chief exec. I think. Yeah.
Sorry.
Because
Sorry,
they
Brian.
took a while to after Alan Burrows left. But yeah,
But I was watching his video and he was talking about it, and he says they will want the league postponed. They will want the split postponed. They're not going to play like closer to the weekend because obviously that's not fair. If you're footballers, you want to play all the time, but at the time you need to
puts them at a
prepare for a game, and
disadvantage, yeah.
exactly.
And the cynic in me also thinks about if it does get delayed a few more days. Are there any injuries? Because I know Thistle, the season we actually ended up getting relegated on points.
This excuse
per
is coming
game.
in now.
No. We called off a couple of games in January, the COVID season.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't switch our under soil heating on, but we had a few injuries, so the postponement worked in our favour.
Yes.
But then we played less games than the other teams. We had less points and we got relegated. So the points per game. So it didn't work out. So that. But I think the only other time I can think, correct me if I'm wrong, like I said earlier, the only game I can think of this has happened is Estonia when FIFA said, UEFA would have been said we had to play it again. So is this game going to get moved to Monaco like that game was?
Oh, did the sunshine? I mean, I
Yeah.
think Motherwell fans might be up for that.
Imagine that.
Going abroad. Let's go.
So Dundee are playing Rangers on Wednesday and Thursday they're
Potentially.
playing in Monaco in Monte Carlo against Motherwell. That'd be great, man.
So maybe we should text us in, what do you want to happen? Do you want it to be played? Well, obviously you probably all want it to be played today. However, if it's called off, which we will find out after one, which
Yeah.
is like a long 45 minutes to wait.
Also,
if you're
the
in
last one, they said we'd find
Broxton
out at 11,
Services.
the pitch inspection. We didn't find out till about 11:30, 25.
No, I know.
And we probably found out slightly earlier because we're sitting next to someone in BBC Sport who got a phone call from someone who's at the game. So
Open all
it
mics, thank you.
It seems a lot of hassle. So let us know if you're planning on going to the game. If you're a Dundee fan, what are you thinking about every other team having a go at your team? Do you think it's justified? If you're a Motherwell fan, are you going to the game? Are you holding off because of that?
Do you spend less money on players and more on getting the pitch up to standard? If you look at Dundee United down the road and see their lovely shiny pitch.
And it's
I mean,
interesting it's happened to Motherwell as well because I couldn't put a year in this. Maybe 8-10 years ago, Motherwell's pitch was absolutely honking and they invested a lot
I
of
love
money.
that
and
word.
invested. I don't know if you met, it was like a spud field and they put a lot of work into it and it's kind of come out the other side. So
I know what they need to do.
what?
They need to speak to Aston Villa.
Why? What did Aston Villa do?
They have a field next to their ground to grow spuds.
Did they actually?
So Aston Villa are were at the time, about 5 years ago, the number one sellers of coriander in the West Midlands. They sell it to Michelin star restaurants because right next to
What,
the
the
pitch, the club, they have a football pitch size allotment right next to the ground where they grow potatoes, they grow coriander, they sell it to the West Midlands. They're the number one, or were the number one supplier. And apparently, if you got a red card, you had to go and dig potatoes. I don't know if that's true or not.
That sounds made up, man. I'd
But
imagine.
all the water from the roof goes down and waters the allotment during the summer.
And if they
off
want
the stadium.
any shade,
And they
instead of-
sell baked potatoes at lunchtime, like
Yeah,
for
of
half
course they
time,
have.
like not pies.
Oh, do
but
they
sell
actually
the
at the ground?
potatoes that they grow at the ground.
And during the off season, if they want some shade, they just get John McGinn's arse to stand in front of it, and that shelters everything. So
Maybe
that
that's
kinda
why
works
he's
out.
growing so well.
maybe
Since John's
that'll
gone
work out. So
Thanks,
that's
John.
if you are a Motherwell fan, if you are a Dundee fan, get in touch. Let us know what you're thinking about this game. You can text us on 80295, email offtheball@bbc.co.uk. You can get us on Twitter at offtheballbbc. Or if you've ever had a change of venue, whether it was a wedding, a birthday party, God forbid a funeral. I'd imagine that's had to happen a few times.
Oh, dear.
I was chatting to a sign language interpreter the other day, and he went to the wrong venue for a funeral.
Oh,
so
no.
he started interpreting the wrong funeral.
What?
He'd just been booked and he didn't know any of the people, so he turned up and he just started signing. And then,
What they were saying?
yeah, and when he came off, he'd like
At least he would get it right, though.
yeah, no, but he came off. He'd like 20 phone calls from the other family who booked him. So that's a bad one. So it made me laugh.
Should
a
have
lot.
put it on vibrate.
Well, yeah, but you're signing. You can't get your phone out of a funeral. You might just be like, "Oh, I've got a Tinder match," or whatever. So you can't really do that.
What age are you signing people? I guess it doesn't.
I was
really
about to say his
matter.
name. His name's Sean. He's,
Sorry, Sean.
30, 31. So yeah. And we're going to be joined in the studio. It's a usual Off the Ball show. We've got some brilliant guests on. We're going to be joined by
I'm
Jules
so
and Dante
excited.
from the band Gun.
This
and
is gonna be brilliant.
Yeah, and we also have Gary McNair, the star, creator, impresario.
Award-winning writer.
Yeah, of Dear Billy, so all about Billy Connolly. So that's going to kind of form two of our topics today. So we want to know, because obviously Gun, Jules and Dante, big Italian connection. So we want to know your Scottish-Italian connection. Ali Defoy, have you
yes.
been to Italy?
Yes, I got engaged in Italy.
Did you? Where? Tell us. Where?
Lake Como.
Oh, nice
And-
money.
Oh, I got engaged at Villa del Balbianello, which apparently is where Star Wars and James Bond was both filmed
What? Oh,
in the villa.
right, okay. So it was like R2D2 cutting about, or like...
No, not when I got engaged, but previously in the films. Yeah, it's where there's like a love scene. Forgive me, Mother half knows this really well, but I don't know where.
A love scene in Star Wars?
Star Wars, where the guy goes out and he kisses the lady. She's an older lady, slightly older than him, and then she
This
says,
is-
"I shouldn't have done that," and he
this
said,
is
"I'm sorry," and he had a wee
genuinely,
ponytail.
The way you described that is absolutely like when I asked my 4-year-old what happened at nursery today, and he was like, there was a lady, there was a ponytail, something happened. That is exactly the same explanation there. Yeah, so the Scottish-Italian
Why are
connection...
both our arms in the air? If
Because
everyone
we're
can see
celebrating. We're
us?
celebrating. So I think we want to find out your Scottish-Italian connection. I went for the first time last year. I loved it. We went to Florence and Pisa. Pisa, not the best.
Did you do the photo with the?
Yeah, I did. I pretended I was trying to eat it, and then I put that on social media, and I got photoshopped into a lot of other things very
Oh,
quickly.
wow.
So
Wow.
learned a lesson that day.
Okay.
So yeah, and
Is that why you don't like it?
oh yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's PTSD definitely. But I think in terms of Scottish-Italian connections, we've got a lot of football connections now. Do you? If I talk to you about Italian football, what's your first thought about it, Ali?
My brother,
Okay, why?
because when he was playing football, not professionally, but when he was younger, his nickname was Gennaro. It was Gattuso.
Yeah.
So he then named his business after it because that was his nickname. He didn't want to get a bit like Apple. You just didn't want to.
What's his business?
It's a fire-rated glazing company.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
Nothing to do with Italian pizzas
There's a
or
chip
food
shop
or
near me
nothing.
called Gennaro's. I was like, does your brother own that? Like, can I get a discount?
I mean, that would be cool.
Also, this is the third show in a row I've talked about chippies on this show. I realised that. I was like, need to do that.
Castelvici and Paisley.
Is that
Paolo
Nutini's one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so why were we talking about that? Yeah,
Scottish
so
Italian
that's what
connection, that
I
works.
instantly think is Paisley.
So for me, when I think about Paisley, is what you think about Italy.
No, like my brother's business is in Paisley, Paolo Nutini's in
Yeah.
Paisley. It's kind of Italian named companies.
I love the idea
No.
of you meeting an Italian person and be like, so do you know about Paisley? Yeah. Like, you heard about this double glazing
Aye,
company?
it will be.
Aye. Have you heard of Hillington?
It's not. It's fire-rated glazing. Just
Oh,
put it
sorry.
out there.
Yeah, for me,
It's
if I
not an
hear-
advert for my brother's company, by the
It
way.
pretty much was. I think if you talk, not so much
Right.
Scottish-Italian connection, but if you think about Italian or Italian football especially, for me, it's mid-1990s. It's James Richardson. It's a big broadsheet paper. It's Saturday morning on the telly, him drinking a tiny espresso and Football Italia and all the football highlights. That was such
And wee
a
short
big...
shorts.
Yeah, yeah, he didn't actually wear too short shorts, but I wonder what acoustic job he had, and that was such a big part of like the late 90s is Football Italia. I'm going to guess 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could have been a Sunday. I don't know. But it just was such a big part. And that's when we all fell in love, my generation, certainly, with Italian football, whether
Your
it was...
generation is only a
Yeah.
few years, right? Come on.
No, because if you think about the other generation, the generation above us, it would be people like Dennis Law going out and playing there.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're in that one, Ali, but like,
You're
people
like-
Dennis Law and Maradona
Oh,
and
my
things like that.
word.
Whereas for us, it was like, for me, certainly, original Ronaldo. You
Mm-hmm.
had guys like Del Piero, Totti, all these incredible footballers, and Italy going into to win the World Cup. So there'll be a lot of people listening to
I
the
love that's what you think of, and I just think of names of places.
Yeah,
like,
you-
I just instantly think of my brother, think of a football nickname that he had that would happen to be Italian, and I just thought there's Pirelli's ice cream in Paisley as well.
Yeah, I
Do you know
love-
what I mean,
I love
loads
the
of
fact
Italians that come to Paisley.
We talked about a whole country. We'll chat to Jules and Dante about this, about a whole country, and you've just essentially brought it all back to Paisley, which is quite impressive, to be honest.
But I also took it to Star Wars and James Bond.
Yeah,
So,
true,
I mean,
yeah.
I took it there the big time first,
So, 'cause also-
then brought it back down.
We've got Scottish players playing out in Italy just
Yes.
now. It's a really high standard where I can't remember that a lot in the last 15, 20 years. You've had obviously Liam Henderson, but then recently Lewis Ferguson is lighting up.
Yeah.
You've had Josh Doig, Aaron Hickey went
Yes.
out for, what was that, season, 18 months?
No,
he
I
was
just
there?
can't stop laughing about his launch video with the Loch Ness Monster.
So what did they do? You mentioned that earlier. What was it?
So it's just a video with Aaron Hickey, and it's just like, you don't see him for ages. There's just this, I don't know, it's meant to be a loch, and then all of a sudden there's just this fake Loch Ness Monster that pops along.
And is his face on it or
And
anything?
no. You don't even see him. This is the announcement of him. And then there's just this random Scottish music, like no words, but just, it's just bizarre. And then at the end of it, you just see Aaron Hickey standing there, and he goes, "I am real."
I
Or
am real.
something like
That's
that.
what he
Like,
says.
yeah, I am the real deal or something. Like,
That's
or
a
I am
strong
real.
start, innit?
And I'm like, what? And then it just has like Bologna, everything everywhere else. And I'm just like, wow. Wow.
Because those players going out there, Lewis Ferguson, if you read the BBC gossip column, which I read every day because
I can't imagine you reading gossip.
Oh, it's a football gossip, so don't worry. Every single day he is linked with Juventus,
Oh, it's
AC
amazing,
Milan,
isn't
and
it?
but really struggles to get into Scotland starting 11, which
And struggled to get into the Aberdeen team.
is well,
for a bit.
he was smashing it when he went up there after he left Hamilton. I think my favorite. I once interviewed him, and there was lots of free food there, and he was like,
I love that this is coming back to food every time.
"Yeah," I was
right now.
like, "Can we?" He said, "Can we take this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so. I'll check with them." And they're like, "Yeah." So he went and got a crate, and he was
crate?
like loading all the food up, and he was like, "I'll just take this back to my family." And I was like, because he says he's got a nut allergy. And he was putting in tons of like chocolate nut bars and stuff like that. And I was like, "Have you not got a nut allergy?" He was like, I do, but people I know don't. And he just walked out with an entire crate of
my
free
God.
stuff. And I was like, this guy's going to go far. He is ready to be made.
So he's the opposite of Barry, because when I used to work with Barry would come in with his organic
Ferguson.
wine. He'd bring wine all the time. He would bring crates of wine all the time for everybody. I was like, "Barry, thank you very much. I don't drink." He's like, "Your mum and dad will have it. It'll be fine."
Organic wine.
Organic wine.
You can't hide money, can you? That is impressive, man. First of all, you're getting engaged in Loke Como. You get free
Loke
organic
Como.
wine. Yeah, Loke Como. yeah. James Como. You got engaged on top of James Como. Is that what happened?
Wow.
So, yeah, the Scottish-Italian connection. So, what is your connection with Italy? Is it a footballer? Is
Or what would you like your connection to be? Maybe you don't have one.
Yeah, maybe you're aspiring to one, because James and Dante, Italian heritage from the band Gun. We'll chat to them. So the Scottish Italian connection, text us on 80295, email offtheball@bbc.co.uk, or get us on Twitter @offtheballbbc. Our other guest in the studio today is Gary McNair, who has won numerous awards, theatre, playwright, performer, all kinds of different stuff. And
I want to ask him about the Scotsman Fringe First Award, because he's won that 3 times.
yeah, so that's an
you know
award.
that
Yeah,
is?
so it's, if you're bringing something new to the Fringe, you're eligible to be win that. So he's won it 3 times. I've won
if I
that.
believe Wikipedia.
Out of my 9 fringes, I've won that 0 times. So that is good. So he's
He'll
doing
give us
much
some
better.
tips.
Yeah, maybe I'll be like, so how do you
How
write a
did
play?
you win that 3 times?
Oh, be funny. Good one.
Right,
Okay, I'll try that one.
brilliant.
So his new tour, he's working with the National Theatre Scotland, Dear Billy, all about people's viewpoints on the legend that is Billy Connolly. Billy Connolly's been in the news a little bit in Scotland over the last week, as I presume he is every month, to be honest. But the brilliant comedian who's been a guest in this show, presented this show, Susie McCabe, won the Spirit of Glasgow